Feeling tired, bloated, and foggy? The surprising link between your weight gain, skin issues, and sleepless nights after 40. Welcome to the Limitless Health podcast. Today, we're diving into the hidden root cause that could be affecting your energy, your weight, skin, sleep, and mental clarity after 40. If you've been struggling with stubborn belly fat, unexplained fatigue, skin flare ups, or waking in the middle of the night, it might not be what you think. Today, we're uncovering the surprising connection between all these common issues and your liver health and what you can do about it, because that's kind of helpful to get in tips. So, do you want to get us started, Kate?
Absolutely. And this is such an interesting conversation for a lot of people because those are things that many of us have dealt with at some point in life. And
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing how after 40, these problems can become more prevalent, but they are interconnected. And we're told by society, we're told, you see it on social media all the time. If you go to your doctor, it's like, oh, let's just give you something to make these symptoms go away. But these are all your body trying to tell you that there's something going on.
Yes.
And I love how many that you mentioned because they are really interesting ones to dig into, especially, well, let's get started with energy because energy is something that I hear all the time. Like, oh my God, I'm so tired all the time. I can't, I have a mid-afternoon energy crash. Like, energy is a really tough one, especially in terms of functioning and getting throughout your day. So, where's the energy connection with the liver?
The first thing that comes to mind for me is that your liver is just overburdened.
Hmm.
And if you're kind of in comparison, if your liver is sluggish, you're sluggish.
Yeah.
You're not able to do all the things you want to do. You're maybe struggling to get up for work. It's because you're not getting rid of all the toxins from your system. You're not able to move everything out, and that's just essentially weighing you down. It's not responding well in your body because you've got all this. You're basically overburdened. That's a weight. Just to me, it's just kind of a weight that's taken over, and that's adding to everything you do. No wonder you feel
Exhausted.
sluggish and run down and exhausted. Yeah, like
Hmm.
many clients we've spoken to use these words and talk about things like that. So
Yeah.
good.
You made a good point there, and I was going to say, I think that we should talk about that a little bit. Like, what's the role of the liver and what's it responsible for? Because we don't, it's something that's not considered as often as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, like, it's our major detox organ or our main detox organ in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And the liver has like 500 jobs that it
Yes,
does
a lot of jobs.
in a single day. I forget what the number is, but they're like at the same time. I can't imagine doing 40 jobs at the same time, and that's what the liver is trying to do for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, when it becomes overburdened, you're not going to have energy. It's responsible for, well, it produces bile, which is part of digestion and lots of other things, but if it's not able to clean things out of your system, it has to find places to put them also. It's like, oh, I'll save that and I'll deal with that later. But yeah, if the liver is stressed, is overwhelmed, if there's too many toxins, which in our daily life today, that's kind of a reality for most people, energy is
Mm-hmm.
not going to be good. So energy is a really common one. And often you do a liver detox or you help support someone's liver. And energy is one of the biggest things that we've seen come back and improve, which is pretty neat. Any other tidbits about what's the importance of the liver?
I'm just going through some things here just to make sure we kind of cover production of cholesterol and special proteins to help carry fats to the body. And as we've mentioned before many times, cholesterol has been demonized, but cholesterol is extremely, extremely important. And I'll let you kind of go into more of why.
Cholesterol, I mean, I picture two boats because that's how I was taught in school. It's like there's the good cholesterol and there's the bad cholesterol. And really, it's basically just HDL cholesterol is the boat that goes around and picks up the excess in the system and then brings it back to the liver for recycling. And LDL is the boat that takes the cholesterol from the liver and delivers it where it's needed in the body. And it's like if we don't have enough cholesterol, low cholesterol is not a good thing. And we've been taught to believe that we always need to lower our cholesterol numbers. You need to lower the numbers, lower the numbers. But if you don't have enough cholesterol, brain doesn't function properly. Like there's a direct correlation between low cholesterol levels and dementia, Alzheimer's, because
Mm-hmm.
we need cholesterol for the brain. It's also like 90% of the cholesterol that the body makes is used in bile, which is such an important part of our digestive tract.
Yeah.
And if we don't have enough bile, we're not going to make more stomach acid. Well, then the stomach is then like immune suffers, and you're not breaking down protein and you're not breaking down fat. And there's so many things that happen when we don't have bile. But one of the problems when the liver is toxic or when the liver is overburdened and congested, because of all the toxins that we're dealing with, the body has to make more cholesterol because it has to make new bile
Mm-hmm.
because the bile that you have is full of toxins and the system doesn't want to recycle that. So it was kind of long-winded, but essentially, like the liver is responsible for making cholesterol. And why would the body make something that could kill
Mm-hmm.
it?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. There was one other thing that you kind of touched on already, resisting infections by
Mhm.
making immune factors and removing bacteria from the bloodstream. So we're kind of jumping ahead with this, but it kind of flows with it. I was just speaking with someone this morning about basically someone being sick, and that was around the time of her period, and that apparently this person catches all the things around their period. And I was like, I hear that all the time from clients. We both hear that. And
Mhm.
it's like, why is that? It's because the liver is overburdened and not able to, that's one of the jobs that's suffering as a result of being sluggish and clogged up. And someone out there is probably thinking, oh, that's me right now. And
Yeah.
this is why, because we need to support the liver more. It's, as we said, getting past the 40 age is when a lot of women experience this, and we need to kind of hone in on that and start to supporting it. Start to support it. My goodness, that was not right. Anyway.
Absolutely. And it's true. That is a time when a lot of people see, especially
Mhm.
after the age of 40, because that's a time where I heard a stat recently that like 80% of women over 40 are dealing with congested liver. And
That's
so the liver
staggering number.
congest staggering.
Yes.
It's insane. And it's so you're dealing with these issues. And so then you have the symptoms. You have the low energy. We'll
Mhm.
talk about a bunch of other things too, skin issues, waking up at between 1 and 3 in the night. So sleep is crappy. Rage is an interesting one that's associated with the liver as well.
Mhm.
And then the period thing. So this is
Mhm.
where there's really heavy periods. This is where women can become estrogen dominant. And I used to be a weight loss coach, and I used to say to people, it's not the calories, it's the hormones. And it is the hormones, but that's not digging deep enough into
No, it's
that
not.
message because why is your body not metabolizing hormones the way it's supposed to or breaking them
Mhm.
down? And that's because of your liver.
Mhm.
If your liver is sluggish and overburdened and not able to break down your hormones properly, you're going to have crap PMS. You're going to have migraines before your periods. You're going to have like much more hormonal acne. Who gets into their 40s and they're like, what the heck? I
Mhm.
barely had acne during puberty and I'm having acne now.
Yeah.
And
Awful.
it's all an indication that your liver's like, yo, I need your help. Can somebody please help me?
Mhm.
And Western medicine will say, let's just put you on hormones. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait a minute. The
Mhm.
body's not using the hormones that it has properly, and we're going to dump more hormones into the system.
Now you're adding more onto the liver
Mhm.
and further taxing what it has to do.
Yeah. Or medication, which again is something that the
Yes.
liver needs to break down.
Mhm.
Right? And so if we can take a step back and realize like all of these things are connected to the liver and start
Yeah.
to give it support. And I mean, I will say because we do muscle testing, we do like to find the root cause of what you're
Mhm.
dealing with, but this is something with that 80% number. This is something that's very common and it's often a good starting place for people to
Mhm.
give your liver some love.
Yeah. Many roads lead back to the liver
Hmm.
as far
Yeah.
as this goes. So we kind of covered energy a brief bit, and you
Hmm.
mentioned the waking from 1 to 3, and
Briefly.
briefly, just briefly. Why is that specifically?
So this is kind of interesting, and this is a conversation that I have with clients all of the time because I'm a dork and like to educate. But in traditional Chinese medicine, they actually have an organ clock. And the point of the clock is it tells you where throughout the 24-hour day different organs are going to be more active. And between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning, that's liver time.
Mhm.
So if you find that you're waking between those hours on a fairly consistent basis, if the liver, I mean, that's when the body does the major detox throughout the day as well as when you're sleeping. So at that time, if you're waking at that time, it could be because there's sluggishness in your liver and it's not able to detox as it's supposed to be. It could be because there's an overwhelming amount of toxins and things that it can't detox, and maybe it just needs some support. But it's a
Mhm.
really interesting perspective and observation to make like, okay, so I am waking up throughout the night. What time? And it can give you some feedback. 3 and 5 is long, which I get into sometimes, but for most people, between 1 and 3 is the time they wake up in the middle of the night. It's pretty interesting.
Mhm. It is. And just kind of going on to the next thing, skin issues. Again, we talk to so many people who are dealing with some sort of skin issue, from
Yep.
if it's acne, rashes, psoriasis,
Eczema.
eczema. Yeah, there's so many things. And I'm always amazed at how many more people will say, yeah, I'm dealing with that too, or I know someone who's dealing with that.
Hmm.
And especially depending on where it is on your body, it can dramatically impact how you're showing up. If it is on your neck or your face area, that's affecting your every day. How you show
Absolutely.
up, how you feel about yourself. It's so many layers to that aspect of it.
It's uncomfortable too.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've had many clients where, well, rashes, hives is also something I've
Hives.
seen
Yes.
like extensively. And it's can be itchy, but it also can be painful.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a client who had hives like crazy on her body, and it used to wake her up at night, right? Because it's very uncomfortable when fabric touches it, or like your skin is the biggest organ in terms of surface volume in our
Mm-hmm.
bodies. And so, yeah, if it's visible and you're someone who's front facing in front of people, like I'm no different. If I have anything on my face, acne wise or whatever, because sometimes things do come up, it's like, oh, I don't want to go live today. I don't want to put my face on camera because
Mm-hmm.
that's how society is, right? Especially now with social media. But yeah, skin is a big one. And skin, we often think, put something on it, that it's a topical problem. And I mean, we have a multi-million, it may be billion-dollar skincare industry that tells you, oh, just put this cream on it, just put this lotion on it, just use this cleanser. I mean, there's a lot of financial gain for them to tell you that, but it starts in your gut.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy skin starts inside. Healthy anything starts inside, but especially skin.
Mm-hmm.
And another, like, I've been doing a lot of liver reading and research recently, but somebody had said, your skin is showing you what your liver can't detox,
Mm-hmm.
which is an interesting statement, right?
Well,
So,
why? The normal way we want to remove toxins from our system, the best way is through the colon
mhm.
and through a bowel movement. But if that is not working the way it needs to, if your liver is struggling and your bile is sluggish, and the next best way is at the skin.
Yeah,
So if you have skin issues, that means you have internal liver issues.
yeah. And it's the body is looking for the most efficient and effective way to detox
Mm-hmm.
at all times. And yeah, if you're not able to poop it out, I've also had conversations, you probably have as well, but with clients where it's like, how's your skin? Especially when we start a program, especially if it's someone who's sensitive, because I
Mm-hmm.
want to see if it's showing up on your skin. Maybe we're detoxing too quickly. Or maybe we're not using enough binders to help the body move it out the way that it's supposed to, but your skin can give us a picture of how things are going in terms of program and protocol as well. And so it's useful.
This speaks to the drainage pathways as well. Because
Hmm.
if you're someone who is sensitive to absolutely everything from perfumes, food, supplements, anything, that you come in contact with in that regard, this is a huge, huge indicator that your liver is toxic and you need support majorly.
Yeah, exactly. Liver is responsible for breaking down histamine as well,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure, which I used to have histamine issues big time. At night, I would like want to scratch my legs off. They were so itchy. And a lot of people deal with that. And the go-to is I used to take Benadryl all the time because I thought like, oh, I'll just suppress the histamine. Histamine, we do need it. Histamine
It has a
is has
purpose.
a has sorry.
It has a purpose.
It does have a purpose, but the problem happens, yeah, when the body's overwhelmed and it's just like, I don't
Mhm.
know what to do and starts to freak out,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, skin is a good one in terms of indication of
Mhm.
what's going on in your
Let's
gut.
move. Let's move to period related issues with
Okay.
hormones and yeah, just start with hormones and then we'll go from there.
We talked about it a little bit already, just in
Mhm.
the context of yes, our body is going to cycle throughout the month. It does up until menopause for the most part. I mean, afterwards there is going to be still a little bit of estrogen production, but your adrenals now take over because your ovaries are like, what, bye, and go on vacation.
Yeah.
But yeah, the liver is what's responsible for converting hormones and breaking them down.
Mhm.
And so, women who have extreme PMS or migraines before their cycle or rage, which we are going to talk about it as
Mhm.
well. But I had a client who was like, my kids and my spouse hide from me leading up to my period because I just like rage. And that's not something I've dealt with before. And it's like, it's an indication for you. Every symptom that you're dealing with, your body is trying to communicate with you. The problem is, it doesn't speak English, right? One of our fellow podcast guests a while ago said that, and it was an interesting way of thinking about it. But that's where muscle testing is helpful because we can decode the messages.
Mhm.
But that's if you're having PMS symptoms, if you're having like crazy heavy periods, there's something going on. I mean, your body could be pushing stuff out through your period as well,
Yes. Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah, we've had
trying
a
to
lot of clients
get
mention.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of clients mention that and just dealing with when their period comes up and then they seem to catch all the illnesses that are out there.
Hmm.
They're just way more susceptible to the sore throat, to being sick. The migraines is a good one because a lot of women that we've talked to and clients have experienced that. And we have to start listening to why that is.
Yeah. And giving the body support because like the body's not
Yes.
doing it as like a screw you guys.
No,
It's
there's a
doing it
purpose.
for a reason. And like a little support sometimes makes a huge difference.
Hmm.
And yeah, that one's it's an interesting one. The period changes are an interesting one, and that's I mean, I had crazy periods when I hit perimenopause, like, well, according to my doctor at like 32, and they were like, "Oh, let's just put you on the birth control pill." And that's often the solution that Western medicine will give you. Let's just give you a medication to make your symptoms go away, or let's just do hormone replacement therapy. I'm not totally anti hormone replacement therapy in certain situations, but anytime you're giving anybody a medication, it's like, I hope you're working on
Hmm.
fixing what needs to be fixed and supporting what needs to be supported behind the scenes at the same time.
Hmm. Yeah. I had a thought there and it disappeared on me. Anyway,
It happens all the time.
coming back to the last point with emotions.
Hmm.
Emotions are tied to different organs in our body, and specifically the ones we touched on: rage, anger, frustration, all tied to liver and gallbladder.
Yeah.
And when you are not acknowledging your emotions, when you're not processing what you're feeling or even putting a label on it, just so you can, because you need to feel it in order to heal it. And this is something I'm learning as well. You need to actually process the stuff that you've been through in your life. And if you are someone who has this rage or this anger, you get really frustrated when something's not working the way you think it should be. That's an indicator that maybe you need to tap into that and
Hmm.
resolve some emotions. Like, it's amazing how this can manifest in our body and cause problems. So do you want to get into some tips on how our listeners can support the liver, their liver.
Absolutely. I'm going to touch on what you just said a little bit as well. Like, I'm just sitting here holding my hand up because this is a podcast, so everyone can't see me unless you're on YouTube, but recovering people pleaser.
Hmm.
And a lot of us get into that. It's a common thing that we see with clients, that we see with women. And the ones that are dealing with hormone issues, there's often emotions that are not dealt with, that haven't been dealt with, that have been just shoved down and put aside to put other people first for a long time. And all of this can connect to the issues that you're having. Our issues are stored in our tissues. We've heard multiple times before, but it's like we can't just keep shoving these things down.
Mhm.
You have to put yourself first sometimes. It's you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And how many empty cups do you see walking around? It's something that is going to lead to problems in the future. And like, if you don't put yourself first now, when are you going to? And
Mhm.
what happens if things get worse? Because it's not ignoring it doesn't fix the problem.
Okay.
Um,
So since we're on that note, talking about emotions, one effective tool you can have in your toolbox is tapping. You can kind of go through and talk to yourself and actually acknowledging the emotion. I mean, most people listening are not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but there's a 6-step tapping that I know about and that you can go through and you can tap the top of your head, the where your third eye would be, next to your eye, below your eye, and then by your collarbone, and then grab your wrist. And that encompasses, I believe it's 3 um,
Meridians.
meridians. Thank you. So you can basically go through, I acknowledge the anger that I'm feeling. And it's okay to feel that anger. And it's okay to let that anger go. And as you're going through this tapping routine, you're acknowledging and releasing. It's okay to release this anger. I forgive myself for having this anger. And then just grab your wrist, say peace, and take a deep breath as you do that. And then you can always rate yourself before you even start, 0 to 10. How 10 being absolutely the worst it could be, where are you on that scale? And if you start, maybe you start with a 7, you go through the tapping and then you ask yourself, what is it now? Okay, it's a 3. Do it again and keep doing it. And even just kind of going inward and just allowing whatever you need, because intuitively we know what our body needs. So just kind of going through that can make such a difference.
Yeah. I recently learned tapping and it's when you're in a heightened state, that's the
Mhm.
times that I've tried it. And it's after you finish, it's just like, as Amanda said, like, can you breathe easier? And it's like, okay, I can focus. I can move on with my day now. I don't have to obsess over whatever I was just thinking about or whatever was getting me so agitated. So yeah, and it's so easy and it's something you can do for yourself and it costs you nothing. So yeah, because of I know who are a lot of the listeners are on this show or the type of people you may have tried tapping in the past, but if you haven't, look it up because it's pretty neat. Other easy things we can do. I mean, lemon water is a really good thing in terms of liver support. Something
Mhm.
bitter is going to stimulate bile flow and is going to stimulate liver health. So I'll often recommend for clients when you first get up in the morning having some warm lemon water. I'm not talking the crap lemon stuff that comes in the lemon looking plastic container. Get some organic lemons and you can use a quarter of a lemon, half a lemon, whatever you want. Just like squeeze it into the glass, the cup, the mug, and drink some warm lemon water in the morning. It's going to get your digestion going in the morning as well, and just kind of move the stagnation, sluggishness along.
Mhm. And kind of goes with that actually is just hydration in itself.
Hmm.
Are you drinking enough water? Are you drinking any water? We talk to clients. I see people that I work with outside of this field, and people have that coffee in their hand in the morning, and there's no water, no water at all. So if you want to move toxins out, if you want to feel better energy wise, drinking
Hmm.
water is a an excellent place to start.
Yeah. I used to joke that, oh yeah, I drink water. It's just passed through beans. Coffee doesn't count. If you're
However,
drinking coffee, you actually need to drink more water. But
yes,
yeah. Make sure you're drinking water, not tap water
Mm.
either. Make sure it's filtered. I mean, our ideal is distilled. If it's reverse osmosis, spring water, either of those, anything would be better than tap water.
Mhm.
The kind of top of the list would be distilled, but basically get water in you, and
Mhm.
ideally not tap water because there's your neighbor's pharmaceuticals are in that tap water. Some people, like, you could have, there's hormone changes from drinking tap water because the birth control pill, people pee it out, everything
Mhm.
that they take. So, and there's also chemicals, and there has to be, because if there wasn't chlorine in our tap water, it would be full of
There's
fungus and
no way to
bacteria and it
drink it.
would kill us.
Yeah.
But there's a cost to that because the liver has to and the body has to detox it, and we hold on to a lot of it as well because we can't move some things as easily as others.
Okay. So with hydration, we also want to get salt in because if we don't
Hmm.
have salt, the water is not getting into our cells to actually hydrate us properly.
Yep.
So your Himalayan salt, your Celtic salt, put it on your food. You could put it in your water. Just make sure you're incorporating that into your routine.
Yeah. Salt is one that people fear as well.
Hmm.
It's in the kind of cholesterol, like we've been lied to about salt as well. I'm not talking about the garbage table salt.
Hmm.
That stuff's crap. I agree. The stuff that's in a lot of our food, like processed foods, there's going to be lots of not good quality salts in there. But as Amanda said, we do need it. There's a sodium potassium pump in our system that's salt is a part of getting the water into the cells. And otherwise,
Hmm.
yeah, you're going to just pee out a lot more, but we do need to get salt or the water's not going to be used as effectively.
Hmm.
And it's amazing how many people, when there's cholesterol stuff, or this is going to be a little bit more of an older population, but I hear all the time like, no, 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 I can't have salt because I'm worried about my heart. And it's like, it's actually not as bad as it's played out to be as long as it's good quality salt. We do need it to
Hmm.
function properly. Our bodies are electrical beings.
Yeah. And your taste buds will tell you when you've had enough.
Yeah.
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 Just listen to your body.
Exactly.
All right. What's the last one here? Okay. There's a couple that we'll kind of go into. We'll keep it somewhat easier, but we'll go to the extreme just because, we can mention it.
Yeah, why
So the
not?
next one is castor oil packs. This is great. You can put on your liver area. There's Queen of Thrones is one,
Mhm.
and otherwise you can get organic cotton and use castor oil. It's preferably in a glass jar if you can find that, and just put that on the cotton and throw it on your side. There'll be videos out there you can look up as well. This is great for supporting the liver and detoxing all the toxins, all the things that are going on.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find, oh, I'm sure I can because I send it to clients all the time, but I'll find a link and put it in the show notes of just how to do this. And yeah, it's not super complicated. It's just put some castor oil on the organic cotton, piece of organic cotton, and just like put it over your liver, then put some plastic wrap over top of it because it's messy and you don't want
Yes,
it getting everywhere. Also wear like a crappy old t-shirt because
just
it's
in case.
probably it's probably gonna end up places. But yeah, and then just like put plastic over it so that it doesn't end up everywhere. But yeah, it just penetrates deep into the
Mhm.
skin and it just helps the body detox better. So yeah, it's a simple one, and really effective, which is cool.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the big one that most kind of will cringe at the fact that I mention it. And this is coffee enemas. Coffee enemas. And for anybody who maybe doesn't know what that is, that's basically a coffee solution that you would, what's the word I want? um,
Ah.
Steep. The way we use it, we use a steeping container. And then you put that in a bucket, it goes down a tube, and you basically put that up into your anus area and the fluid goes in. And this is stimulating the liver to, I believe it's a glutathione it's releasing
Correct.
to get rid of all the toxins. And if you are a more expert level enema person, perhaps you're putting other solutions in there to help with parasites. Maybe there's emotions related to that too. There's other things that can be put into coffee enemas to help with that. But we'll just keep it brief because if it's
To
anyone that,
not traumatize people.
yeah, not exactly. So those are the few things that you can do. Drink lemon water, drink clean water, distilled if you can, some sort of filtered water. Make sure you're getting in good salt. You can also use castor oil or castor oil packs. And then, if really need be, um, enemas. But above all else, I think a lot of things that come down to any physical issue, any health issue, is your emotions.
Hmm.
This is probably one of the higher percentage causes of some of the things you're dealing with. So if you can get a handle on your emotions, you have to feel it to heal it. So look at that. Just go inward. Ask yourself, what is it that I need to do? What would you like to have happen? And just self reflect on what your body needs. Any final words you have for us?
I think we covered a lot of stuff, which is good. I think we should do another episode talking about the emotional component too, because I think I've had a lot of health issues, autoimmune and different things in my life. And like looking back, I can see where there may have been triggers from emotions that I'm the kind of person who's like, I can just tough it out through this and how that can affect the body and affect the system. But for this episode, I think we've done a pretty good job. Like those are things that people often don't associate with the liver because I didn't before school and before we dug into this more. I wouldn't have thought energy had to do with my liver.
Mm-hmm.
Like who thinks about their liver, right?
Before learning this stuff, yeah, I had no idea. You just kind of go about your day and just do your thing. It's like, oh, this is happening. Okay. You just kind of deal
Exactly.
with it, as you say.
But if you're hearing these things on the list, okay, so low energy, mid-afternoon energy crashes, waking between 1 and 3 in the morning, skin issues, emotional stuff, especially before your period things, so like migraines, like really heavy periods, clotty periods. If you've got more than one of the things on this list, this may be an indication for you there's something going on with your
Mm-hmm.
liver and it may need some support. So this is something where like totally reach out to us. We do a free discovery call for people who aren't sure what they want to do or they're looking for clarification, but we start with an assessment for anyone who's wanting to move forward and figure out what's going on. It's all about finding what's the root cause of your health problems. Because if you're just putting band-aids, if you're just taking things to deal with symptoms all the time and not looking for the root cause, you're not actually getting healthier. And those can actually cover other underlying problems that aren't being addressed because you're masking them with medication, right? Or even with natural things too. So, yeah, I mean, that'd be my biggest thing. Like, don't wait, right? When it comes to your health, it's we can't replace this body that we're in for this trip around the sun again or this time on the planet. We can't replace it. So
Mm-hmm.
take care of it.
Mm-hmm. It's the greatest investment you could ever invest into is your health.
Yeah.
If you don't have it in the future, what do you have? All righty. So hopefully everyone's enjoyed this episode. They've gotten some value from what we've spoke about today. And as Kate says, we'd love to have that conversation because the people who are ready for this and commit to this, they're seeing great changes in their health, dramatic changes. All right. So thanks everyone for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the episode and we'll catch you on the next one.